for an outfit in Hamilton. So I managed to be at home, and then when I had a client, my husband would come home and look after the puppy, basically my daughter. Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. It isn't animal puppy life with EJ and Nat. It is in fact the real highlight reels of women in business. Welcome back to the series. I can't wait to share EJ with you. Once you've had EJ in your life, she's like a Pringle. Yet once you pop, you can't stop, yo. Like, she's next level. So much fun, empowering, inspiring, and for me, for real, you know. And so her business journey is so interesting, but so interesting the fact that I think it's going to be very relatable for a lot of you, and I think it's for a lot of you have been, are at, and want to head to. So after all that, EJ, thank you for coming today. I love the contrast in our outfits today. I think it just speaks volumes.
I think it speaks volumes, but it also really does speak to our style personalities, doesn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I didn't know I had a style personality until EJ explained to me what a style personality was. Did this really cool exercise with her, and she reported back this very cool style personality. EJ, share with us how Sisterhood of Style started. Just give it to us, baby.
give you the full view. Thank you so much for having me, Nat. This is a real honour. I absolutely love what you do in business, and in fact wouldn't probably be around without you. In fact, because you were right there from the beginning of the entire journey in this very serendipitous way. I had been working for a large bank, a corporate in communications, and for about 5 years. It was a really great stint, and that's where my job, my career had always been: communications, media, advertising, and television. And I had training as, well, I had a degree in English, but I had training as production manager, producer, and went on to keep. My career wasn't linear, but it fell into that sort of media and communications pipeline of jobs, many very different jobs, and then became quite project manager based. And I hit 40 and I felt more confident in myself than ever, strangely enough, because I didn't think a lot of women around me did. But I guess what was coming out was I really wanted to wear my personality. I wanted to share the confidence I felt with other women, but I was seeing that in corporate, particularly, a lot of women were not feeling as confident as perhaps I was. And I had always wanted to start my own business. My dad's an entrepreneur, and I had thought it must be in the blood, surely, but never knew what I wanted to do. And I had a light bulb moment. I took January off in 2016 and decided that I was going to really nail what it is that I'd wanted. And Sisterhood of Style had started percolating. It had started sort of becoming something that I really wanted to do, which was to help women. And then naturally a byproduct of that is that I love clothes, I love shopping, I love putting artistic outfits together. And so fortunately, with time off, I managed to marry the two. And my husband and I came up with the name because I said it's all about other women, the sisterhood. Yes, it's my business, but it was really about the sisterhood and me helping women with style, not breaking down some of those barriers, helping to make it less hard. It seemed to be so hard for women. People were telling me constantly that shopping was too hard, getting dressed in the morning was too hard, and I felt that it shouldn't be such a burden on women. So that's where it was born. And then I met you that new year and I started explaining this idea to you, and you said, oh, it sounds like you've run your business for ages. And I said, no, I haven't even started it yet. I don't even know the name.
I was so profound that time. I was just like, say what? You haven't even started. Like, you're owning this already. And I just love that bit you said about that you're knowing that you've been here to do more. So more than the career, you wanted to make an impact, imprint, whatever it was on the community and the world around, which I really love. So share that moment with us around when I said to you, oh, it sounds like you've been in for ages, and you had actually just used me as the tester to go, I'm just going to see what happens when I share with someone what I do.
Yeah, it was serendipitous. I woke up on January the 1st absolutely elated. I spent the whole of January basically a little bit high on the idea of starting this business. I had an idea, and I think you know me well enough now, Nat, to know that when I put something into fruition, when I speak it and I manifest it, it usually happens in some way or other. And when I'm able to articulate something, things click into place for me. I'm a very visual person. So actually me coming up with a business plan, me trying to get some numbers on, that just blew my head. But when I'm able to articulate something and speak my truth to someone and actually verbalize it, is what I mean, that's I guess a gift that I have, in that I can articulate something, often long-winded, but it then resonates for me in my head, it then makes sense in my head, and then I can go out and formulate it. So it was a light bulb moment. It was a wonderful, truly wonderful experience to go through that process of knowing I wanted to help the community, marrying it up with something I really loved, which was clothes, and not making it so hard, and also changing bodies, changing figures. You know, I had just come out through the very tough times of motherhood. My kids were at school. They were a little bit more independent, and I saw an opening to just go for it.
So tell us, from, you know, it being an idea on that January, having the summer to kind of like pull it together, tell us the journey from those first couple of years. Like, did you just go, I mean, I know the journey, but we're here for the others. You didn't just jump in the deep end, leave your job, burn bridges. Tell us your journey, because I think it's a really sensible ideal, because it's a similar journey I had. So I'd love for you to share it, because I think the more we share this, the more it's normal for women.
It certainly wasn't I'm starting my own business and I'm off doing that alone. It didn't start like that, and it hasn't finished like that either. I still work part-time on another job. So I think the idea is that it was a slow burn, and a very slow burn, and in many ways I felt like a failure in some ways, because I thought when you started your own business, you had to just start your own business and that was that, and it would automatically make money. And I've been fortunate to...
Oh, the lessons.
I know. And I've been really fortunate. I was really fortunate in that I had I love women. I love the connection, the community that women provide. When I get into a room filled with women, there is nothing better. And so I knew that there was something there, but obviously therefore I had a backing, I guess, a community already of people that trusted me. I was older. I wasn't just a one-hit wonder. I'd had a really good career, so people knew that I was solid and trustworthy. And so I was able to hit the ground running with clients. Once I started putting the feelers out, women were like, okay, cool, she's great. But it didn't mean that I was working full-time on this. And I didn't allow myself. Our mortgage wouldn't have survived if I just done that. I
love that for you. I love that for you, that you started your business where some people don't want to, which is starting with people who already know, like, and trust you, because we can be worried about, you know, annoying our friends and family, where actually they're the fastest path to us generating income and getting out there and taking the first steps, which is they already know you, they've already got that problem, go solve it for them. So you did that really well.
Yeah, and my very first client is a very dear friend of mine. And she and I met in London 23 years ago. You know, I mean, but she blew me away that she literally rang me as soon as she found out that I was doing this. She goes, "Oh my God, you're the answer to what I need." And so suddenly I just put myself out there. I did personal shopping and wardrobe edits, and that was it. Here to help make it easier for you. And that's what I've continued doing. I've built on those, and I've got online services now and things, but really that's still my core base. That's where the magic lies.
And do you remember when you did your first workshops, that you go into people's houses, and we'd come into your house? Do you remember that? I remember still sitting there a winter in your house. I mean, I think all the boys and hubby were like shoved in a room down some, like, don't come out.
I know, it still makes me laugh because we're still in this house now, hence why we're leaving. It's a very small house, and I've actually got a child at home sick today, and one of them, the other one's ringing me wanting to come home. So I'm really excited. We're moving in a couple of weeks to a much bigger house, and I will have a dedicated Sisterhood style office, and I'm going to literally kit it out with all of my maximalism. But my goal is to be able to host style parties there as well. So you gather your things. But yeah, I still remember those. I was so fresh. I didn't really know what I was doing. I just wanted to share what I knew, and I wanted to make sure people knew it was easy. I feel as women, we tie things up so much in our looks and our success, and we have to do everything great and perfectly. And clothes is just one of those things that absolutely either, makes people tear their hair out, or for me, it brings me great joy. And I wanted to help women find that joy. And if they couldn't find the joy, then at least the ease of having a really great curated wardrobe.
Would you agree, though, that even though, looking back, you were green and fresh running these workshops, but to those of us who came to them, we didn't know that you were fresh and green, and you were testing it out and didn't really know what you were doing. Would you agree, though, that you have to do those imperfect version 1s and 2s to get to where you are sitting here today, to be able to, this week, head down to Rotorua and talk in front of a freaking room full of people?
Yeah, I appreciate now, and I think that's also my journey with you, is that arc of, you've always said, look at the successes, and I've been very hard on myself to look at the successes. I don't. And I think it's been the last year that I've been able to reflect and go, actually, I'm now an expert stylist. People are calling on me to use me as an expert stylist or an expert in my field. There's plenty of us. There's lots of people to choose from, but I'm just one of those people that have been called upon, and it's really exciting. It actually makes me understand that actually I've built up from the small beginnings to having people in my home and serving them some brownie on a platter and a glass of bubbles, to actually going to speak in front of hundreds of women. That's, to me, is a goal realised, and also a lot of hard yakka has gone into it. It hasn't just
well done on recognising that, because it doesn't work that we just, that's okay, high achievers, takes us a while. I still beat myself up. But I think, because doesn't everyone go on TV and write a book? Product placement, by the way.
Surely. Have you seen my book?
Yeah, I missed it.
Oh, is that it in the background there?
But it doesn't work like that, does it? When you come out from business and all of a sudden you're invited to TED Talks and running events, you have to have, which is why I make all my clients go and do those things, because I'm like, you can't have this, which is what you want, until you actually take all the other steps, because you're just not going to be confident enough to take those opportunities anyway.
Correct. And I think too that opportunities may fall in your lap, and you may go, this is it, this is my big moment, and nothing comes of it. And I think too, that was a really good learning from your work with me, is that it's a whole lot of things that make up this journey, not just one amazing moment. Because unless you're ready to either step up and lean into that and maximize the potential of that opportunity, or that it's just not an opportunity, it was just a moment in time and you got to do it and you liked it, well, then I want to build on that. So therefore, I've just kept whittling away and putting myself out there. And there's, going back to the part-time thing, when I realized that I was spending a lot of time working in I can never remember whether it's on or in the business. I didn't have a lot of clients, but now I'm back the other way, where I've got more clients than time. And so now I'm finding it really hard to actually keep pushing myself to do all of the other businessy stuff, which I'm really loving and thriving on, but it becomes a time strategy kind of situation that you've got to.
I want to celebrate one thing with you within that. What you've been really good at this whole time is your consistency of showing up on one platform and just meeting yourself where you're at with that platform, because now the simplicity in which you've grown your business without lots of complex moving parts means that now you've got time's an issue. You don't have to be doing all the bright shinies, because your simplicity of showing up of the one thing and then repurposing the one thing down to newsletters, etc., is going to help you moving forward. So I want to celebrate for you that you're actually consistent as fuck on so much stuff. And for me, I honestly think that's why you are where you are at with your business.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. It's funny because I've done social media because I've worked in social media, and I found it easy. I don't mind speaking on camera. I love it. In fact, I love making silly things on reels. But I really focused on the fact that it had to be about sisterhood or about style. So I've been really careful with how I use reels. But yeah, I mean, consistency on Instagram is the one thing I can say I've achieved.
Oh, you've been so good at it. And you and I have had many conversations that because you've had such an impact with your own Instagram, you know, Reels was, because of your beautiful personality and your extrovert performing nature, Reels was the next step for you. Like, it wasn't weird that you've gone out to do Reels, because you know that the Reels aren't the thing that's generating your, I suppose, your specific sales. It's all the other things that you have in place.
No, definitely not. In fact, Reels perhaps even lose me followers. Which someone has then told me, don't worry, because it's bringing all of your tribe to the surface. So I don't get worried about it. I think Reels can be really polarizing. I think people know me enough now. I felt really comfortable doing it because I am extroverted. Are
you?
I know. Married to an introvert, which is quite interesting. But because I'm extroverted and I've got a failed acting career in my past, can't believe I never got the call up, is that it's giving me a little bit of a creative outlet as well. So I lip sync to stupid voiceovers and things. But all of them have a relationship back to style or making a point about style. But I definitely know that is, whilst it may be helping engagement in some ways, I definitely know that it's not the bright, shiny thing to be the only thing that's going to grow my engagement or bring people to me.
I love that you shared it. I love that we can bring some reality to those people who think, oh my God, I've got to do Reels, when, you know, they're trying to, like, they're not even doing one thing consistently well. I would love for you to share about some of where perfection has done some impact to your business, whether a good thing, bad thing. Does it lead to burnout? Where is it being powerful? Where has it been a pain in your ass? And why is it when you do live things, the courier comes and the lawn mowing person?
Oh, so just hit the lawn mowing guy, and I was like, you're not supposed to lawn mow in the rain, are you? I wasn't even quite sure.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. Anyway, hopefully, can you hear it? Is it?
No, I can't hear it. I can't hear you either. So he's been adorable.
No, they're hanging out quite cool. And that's why I keep looking that way, team, because there's big dogs and puppies.
And I'm looking that way for my big dog. So perfectionism. I didn't know I was a perfectionist, of course. I thought I was just a bit laissez-faire. And so that took me years, Nat, I would say. I did not think I was a perfectionist at all, because I didn't do things perfectly. I'm a bit, it's done, great, move on. And that's part of my project management background and producing background, is you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. What I've realized in business, owning your own business, there is never an end.
When you find the ends, tell me. I'm just going to take us on a journey to shut the door while we're here.
Yeah, no worries. Unless it's the actual end. So I thought that I wasn't a perfectionist, and I was kept on wondering why I'd be coming up against blocks. And so when I'd work with you, you'd call me out on it. But I didn't actually believe it, I have to be honest. I didn't believe I was a perfectionist, probably until last year. And that I realised some of the things were holding me back. And one of them was the ebook. And you and I spoke about it, and you were saying it's been 4 years in the making. Why have you not finished it? And I said, because I haven't got it designed, and I can't, and this and that, and I don't have time, and da, da, da. There were so many reasons. So that really held me back. And then go away on a working retreat, and I finish it recently, and it's like, wasn't so bad after all. I think so. And another example is time. As I tell myself quite often, I don't have enough time. And I'm sure this can relate to so many women out there who run their own businesses, run their homes, work part-time, are a coach for the netball team, are this, that, and the other thing. And so time became my excuse. I can't, therefore I don't, therefore I won't. And what I've realized is that because I have a production management producing background, I'm really good at time management. If I stop scrolling on this,
Well
and
done.
I actually set my timer and do 45 minutes of dedicated work, all of those things. So the perfectionist in me has halted me more probably than it's actually been a benefit to me. Because I well, you can tell me, but I think that it's my other side, which is kind of, let's just get it done and out there, that has led me to actually make bigger leaps and bounds in my business. So I knew that I know that I've got this tendency to go, oh, it's not ready, so I leave it, but it hasn't stopped me from eventually doing it. Does that make sense? It's kind of,
Makes sense.
I'm a bit of a dichotomy, I guess, because I didn't know that I was a perfectionist, and I thought I was just a bit slapdash, but in fact, the two of them sort of are almost the same, different sides of the same coin.
Correct, and I love that word dichotomy, because which is where perfectionists sit. Because if we're in a dichotomy, we're in polarity a lot, which can confuse us. So for me, being a perfectionist is a great thing, because having perfection means that you want things to be great. So there's an element of greatness and leadership and inspiration and impact. So for me, that's your perfection in a beautiful space, in a very positive space. When it's not so great, it is the whole, it's not ready yet. So similarly, when you've got this amazing find your style, remember you'll find the styles that you pre-sold and pre-sold loads. There was perfection around how you needed to show up and how that had to look before you put it out to sell. So talk us through that part when it came through selling and perfection, and is it ready and is it not, and just that journey. Because for me, I wanted to show you that you had so much great stuff to sell right now. You just had to go and tell people.
Yes. That is the yes, that's right. That's the genius of working with a business coach like yourself, I think, because I wasn't able to see that it was ready. I wasn't, and you said to me, well, you know how much it is, you can do this. And I think I was even putting my, I can't take payments. And you said, yes, you can, through Xero. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. Do you know what I mean? I think I was putting so much of the technical stuff, which isn't my forte, onto releasing something that I knew I could do blindfold. So I sometimes put a lot of barriers up when it's the technical stuff, because my brain does go a little bit to mush when we talk about numbers, when someone asks me to forecast, when someone asks me to understand what the best-selling services, all of those sorts of technical things. I just want to do what I'm doing. I just want to work with women, have fun with them, and help make style easier. And I kept holding on to that really tightly. The selling part is also not my forte. I don't like it. But when you
she's booked out till August, by the way, so she's not that fucking bad at it. Anyway, tell us more.
No, but as soon as you say it's a sales conversation, I'll freeze. Yeah. But if you just say go out and have a conversation, I'll be like, great, I love it. I'll do that easily. And it's all about shifting that frame in your mind of actually just having a conversation that actually has nothing to do with probably your product or your service. And for those of us in the service industry that act or work with women in a very personal way, that means a whole heap, because in fact people are buying me, my personality, and they're trusting me and my personality to be real and to be honest with them. And so if I don't turn up and have those conversations, no one would book with me, I think. But it was it had to be that the frame had to shift in my mind from it being a sales conversation to just being a conversation. If you take selling and sales out for me, I'm away. But it took
and you've done that so well.
Took a really long time.
But I think that's important, as it does take time, right? There isn't the magic wand, the sales funnel, the magic copywriter, the magic Facebook advert. And I think for me, that's your journey. If for me, you are that representation of, consistent strategic action, learning, growing, giving it a go, because you've got that wonderful tenacity about you.
Yeah.
Tell us about. Oh, sorry.
No, you go.
We're like, tell me about what it's like when overwhelms come and perhaps burnouts being tapping at your shoulders. How's that been for you?
It's been tough. It's been tough. I think, you know, you have family pressures, you have menopause coming into the mix, you have emergency operations.
Oh my gosh.
You know, there's lots of things that fire at you through your journey in business. And to be honest, it's not until now that I'm nearly 6 years down the line, 6.5, I don't know, I can't do maths, that I now get it. People often say it takes 5 years to make any real money. It takes this much. Do you know what I mean? And I get that, particularly with a service-based business. I think it's even more so. So the burnout thing took me a long time to also figure out, and that's, I guess, where my perfectionism comes in. I can do it all. I'm very capable. No, I'll take on more, and I would just pile it all on. And because of my training as in projects and production, you got on with it. You found a solution and you just moved through it. And that was how I dealt with being a mother. You know, I was very ordered, but we did it and using my way, my systems. And so it took me a long time to figure out that burnout was a thing. And it wasn't until that I had a chance to reflect one summer that I was probably juggling too much, and what could I do? I didn't want to let people down. That was the biggest thing. Yeah. I didn't want to let people down. But then I realized that I also was only one person. I can't do it all. So taking the time, the things that I've done is taking the time to put in systems and resourcing that help me to delegate. My website, don't want to know about it. I'm not very good at it. I want it to be really easy for someone to use. Hence why I use Louisa to help me. And so that's a little bit of outsourcing, but also pushing some things in place like templates, email templates, things that will actually speed up the process of me working through and wading through all of the admin. And so that's helped me deal with burnout and just practical solutions. And then even putting an out of office on the weekends on my email.
Yeah, that's awesome. What about, you know, like, I know that for high achieving women like ourselves, who we won't acknowledge our wins, and there's things we've got to, so we keep on striving because we're not there yet, because we haven't made this yet, and so then that adds to our burnout. How's that showing up for you in terms of like stopping, acknowledging where you're at, seeing the money your business has generated and what it has been able to give back into your household, or just for yourself?
I don't dwell on it too much, I have to be honest. And it's not until someone calls me out, like yourself, on it that I've reflected. But probably the one time I have really looked at it is when I realised that it was my business that let us go on a lovely family holiday. And so that kind of went, it is working. You know, because otherwise it just was all being swallowed up into the mortgage, and we were taking drawings from my business and it was supplementing and all of that sort of stuff. And I'm not good with numbers. I think I've repeated that quite a bit. And I shouldn't, probably, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy, but I'm not very good at that whole projection forecasting. It doesn't come naturally to me. So I never really reflected on it. I got myself a really great accountant. And she's able to help me through those questions. And then it was when I was able to see that it had paid for a lovely family holiday that I went, okay, this is of value. This is earning me money. This is great. Yeah.
And also, like, the acknowledgement for some women who are working contract work still, the acknowledgement that that's a really smart thing to do, you know, having wealth coming in from different areas. So from your contract, from your business, like, that's a smart, wealthy woman thing to do. And then when you bring those two numbers together, it's like, wow, look at what you're generating. So congrats for all of that, because I think it's awesome. So to wrap up, I would love for you to share for someone who is three things: someone who's a startup, someone who's in their first couple of years, and then someone who is where you're at now. 3 different pieces of advice for each 3.
Okay, so if you're a startup, just go for it. Have your idea, make sure that you've got something, a way to talk about it or launch it Don't get hung up too much on having everything perfectly ready. You do need a digital strategy of some type, i.e. you need a website or you need Instagram or however you think you're going to talk to your market. Start with that. Start talking about it. Don't forget to let your friends and family know.
Well done.
The first couple of years, keep going. It's really hard. It is so hard.
Such good advice.
It is going to be so hard. You're going to think, why am I doing this? Is it actually going to have any returns? But keep going. Put your money for your tax aside. Do not spend it. Get yourself a great accountant.
Perfect.
Now 5 years on, 6 years on, keep going. It's really hard. Work with like-minded people, collaborate. Don't be afraid to collaborate. I think collaboration has done wonders for my business. I work with other stylists quite often. So collaboration is amazing. And then probably that 5-year mark, I would also say, get really effing good at what you do before you bring on more. So not that you're an expert, because I think we've had this conversation where I was like, oh, and I want to do this and this and this and, you know, bells and whistles because I'm 5 years in. But actually what I really want to know is that I'm really effing good at styling people, my core base of people. I'm really good at helping other women find their confidence. And so as long as that bucket is filled, as long as that is really solid, then that's where you can start bringing in new bells and whistles. But don't move ahead or too far ahead of yourself before you know that your core base or your reason for being is absolutely rock solid.
Stellar advice. Well done. It's something that you've also done really well, is surrounding yourself by like-minded businesswomen and getting advice from others, but being around businesswomen, which I think has really helped you as well, in terms of, I think, just seeing that what you're feeling is normal and it's okay and that there's nothing wrong with you and those stages. So your advice is so on point and I really appreciate it. How can we now work with you though? What's on offer?
Well, Nat, do you know, I actually often quote you and I say, if I'm doing a public speaking, now I've got to tell you about how you can work with me. My business coach would actually tell me off if I didn't. So ways you can work with me. COVID was a great, led to great change in my business. So I can now do online styling, work with women in Australia and the UK. We can do wardrobe edits online. I can also take you online shopping. I've got some amazing tools to do that. So you can find me at www.sisterhoodofstyle.com. You can follow me on Instagram, Sisterhood of Style NZ. That's also for Facebook. And I am booked out now till August. So if you want to work with me, I'd love to get in touch.
Thank you so much, babe. I know that your story today is going to really help a lot of people. So really appreciate your time. And go us without imperfect households while doing this interview. But that's the real guts of it, isn't it?
This is the guts of it. I'm in a sea of boxes for moving. One child sick, still can get on a call, still can actually make prioritize, my business. So thank you for having me on. I really, really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for watching the real highlight reels of Women in Biz. Please share this episode if you know that it's going to help someone with where they're at. And I'll put EJ's links below this program so that you can get all her amazing stuff. But I'm going to go be booking her in so I don't have to wait till Christmas, because that's what's going to happen.
Yes, treat me like your hairdresser. Book me in advance.
Yeah, I love that. It's such a good idea.